up, YouTube? It's your boy Carter TV. I got a quick, nice story for y'all. All right, so this story is about a kid named Joe Matthews. You feel what I'm saying? Joe Matthews, his story started at the age of 8 years old. He's been in a mental hospital due to behaviors and self-harm. You know what I'm saying? His household, he grew up in a decent, nice household. His mother, before, he was in the hospital, his dad was around. His dad died when he was 7 years old. So that kind of played a lot into his behaviors. When he turned 8 years old, he started acting out in school. When shit got rough, he started self-harming himself, trying to kill himself. On 3 occasions, he tried to kill himself. He jumped in front of a car. He tried to hang himself in the school bathroom. And he also tried to drown himself at home. So after that, the mother just couldn't deal with it no more. Joe is, he's one of 3. He's the baby. The siblings were a little much older than him. He had an older sister who was about 21, and he had an older brother who was about 16, just finishing up high school. The sister's in college, and around the time all this was going on, this was going on around the holiday time. So the sister was back from college, visiting the family, and Joe was acting out. He was acting out in school. He was trying to kill himself. So the mother, the brother, and the sister sat down with somebody, and they decided to send Joe to a mental health hospital for the youth, for kids. And they didn't tell Joe that he was going there. They just put him in the car, took him there. When he got there, he was just like, "Why we at a hospital? What's going on?" And he started to put shit together after a while. He was like, "I'm not going in there." And then he started coming up a fuss. He started putting up a fight. So they basically had to drag him in there. They got him in there. They got him situated in the mental hospital. And the mother, she just was hysterical because she just realized this was going on with her son and not realizing what was really going on with him. So they got him in there. They got him situated in there. They got him a room, and he was on, a unit with kids his age. Kids between the ages of 9 to between the ages of 8 to 11. He was with that type of group. And, being in that type of environment, he didn't know what he was going into. He got a quick dose of that his first week there. You know what I'm saying? His first week there, he seen kids, bashing their heads in. He seen kids fighting. He seen kids getting along. He seen kids acting out. He seen kids fighting staff. He seen all types of shit in 1 week, right? And he didn't know he can call his mom. He didn't know he could call his mom. So the first week he was in there, he was just observing everything. This is where, his state of mind started to change a little bit because due to his environment. So with that going on, he finally called his mom the following week. It was just like, "Mom, you got to get me out of here. It's wicked in here. It's crazy. These kids is just off the chain." You know what I'm saying? So, he was talking to his brother and sisters, and he was just like, "Why am I here? Da, da, da." And they basically was explaining to him, like, "You in there because you've been acting out. And you're not saying why you're not acting out. You're not talking to nobody. You just really acting out." You feel what I'm saying? So he's in there. He's like, "I want to go home. I want to go home." So after that conversation with his mom, he kind of was just like, he felt like they disowned him. They pushed him aside. He started acting out in there. He started getting into the fights with other kids. Now, while in there, none of the kids really paid him no mind because they all knew what they was in there for. They all knew they was in there for something, except Joe. Joe, it didn't register to Joe like, "You in there for this real purpose, bro. Like, you in here because we all the same." And, he was fighting staff and all that. So they had to, do what they had to do to get him to calm down. So I say after, his third week in there, one of the other kids came up to him, was like, "Yo, it's good, Joe. Like, you good?" And he was on edge. You know what I'm saying? He didn't know what to expect. But the kid was basically like, "Yo, you want to play some cards?" So, him and this kid got acquainted. The kid he got acquainted with, his name was Matthew. So he was like, "Yo, I'm Matthew, by the way. I seen you the only kid in here that's quiet and to himself, so I just figured, I come play cards with you. So Joe was like, I don't know how to play cards. I don't know how to play this game. So Matthew basically told him how to play a few card games. You know what I'm saying? So him and Matthew started talking. He was just like, yo, what you into? Like, what type of stuff you was into when you was at home? He was like, I'm into cars. I'm into trains. I'm into building things. And Matthew was like, well, that's what's up, bro. That's what's up. And then Matthew was like, yo, I'm into football, man. I like to, play football. I want to be a football player when I get up out of here. So Matthew basically told him, he's like, I'm in here for my behavior. I'm in here for my behavior and shit. So he was like, what? He said, what you in here for? And then Joe didn't know. Joe been there 3 weeks and did not know why he was in there. So the third week he was in there, he met his therapist. He was playing cards with Matthew. Matthew knew who the therapist was because that was also Matthew's therapist. So he was like, oh, that's Dr. Lit. That's Dr. Lit. Dr. Lit. That's his name? He was like, yeah, Dr. Licture. Dr. Licture. So he was like, oh, he's mad cool. He's mad cool. So Joe felt a little relief. He was like, yo, Joe, let me talk to you for a minute. Let me talk to you. Dr. Lit was a black guy. He was well educated. He knew how to handle kids. He knew how to talk to them. He knew how to get comfortable with them. So basically, he talked to Joe. He told Joe why he was in there for behaviors, and you self-harm yourself. And he just wanted to understand why this was going on with you. So it took Joe a while for him to actually interact with the doctor because he didn't know this man from a hole in the wall. You know what I'm saying? So with that going on, Joe felt a little relief. He was like, now I know why I'm in here, for my behavior. I act out. I got a temper. I'm aggressive, this and that and the third. So that doctor basically told him why he was in there. So you're going to be in here. You're going to be, looked at, this and that and the third. We're going to try to figure out a way to get you to come to terms with what's going on in your life. You don't need to act out. If you need to talk to somebody, say that. If you need to talk to one of the little other kids in here with you, you can also do that. So that kind of, left weight off his shoulders a little bit. And Matthew was the only kid he was actually vibing with. Joe was a white kid. Matthew was black. So a lot of other kids, they had their own personal reasons why they was doing shit. So this one particular kid in there, his name was Billy. Billy was a big fat white kid. He liked to eat. When he don't eat, he's aggressive. He basically was a bully of the unit that Joe was in, and all the other kids feared him. And there's one particular girl that he liked. Her name was Samantha. Now Samantha was a 12-year-old. Well, yeah, she was a 12-year-old girl. She was sexually active. She was abused. Her background is more crazy than everybody else's. And she was kind of like the dominant female on the unit type shit. So what Billy was doing was he was bullying all the other kids. A lot of fights that was going on was because of Billy. Any other kids that talked or messed with Samantha, Billy stepped in and was handling them like this. He was like, yo, don't talk to her like that. That's my girl. Samantha didn't really claim Billy as her boyfriend. She just liked the fact that somebody was protecting her and the fact that somebody like Billy was her protector, and she liked that feeling. So she used that to her advantage. She would seduce Billy sometimes, and being that Billy wasn't sexually active, he was just like giggly and like, oh shit, she being nice to me, she's touching me, oh shit. Like, she played on that. You know what I'm saying? Samantha was a good mastermind. She knew how to play on that. She knew how to seduce him. She knew how to get him where she wanted him to be. So with that going on, this one particular day, Matthew and Joe was having a good time playing cards, interacting, having a good time with each other. You know what I'm saying? Just being friends. And Billy came over. This was around lunchtime. Staff brought in lunch. What they was having pizza that day. They was having pizza, fries, ice cream, juice, and milk. Regular bullshit. And them two was having their pizzas. Billy decided he was hungry. He was taking niggas' food. Staff was stopping him. Stop doing that. You can't be doing that. So when Billy noticed that he couldn't take people's food in front of staff, he would slide off. Samantha I just want some ice cream. And Billy heard that. Billy's like, you want ice cream? I got ice cream. She's like, Billy, where's your ice cream? Give me yours. She said, I ate mine, but I'll get you some more, though. So the staff was like, how you going to get her some more? He was like, I find my way. So he started sliding off. Matthew and Joe was sitting by themselves where there was no staff. Red flag right there. And what happened was he decided to go over there because there was no staff. So he went over there. He's like, yo, give me your ice cream. Matthew was just like, yo, just give it to him. Just give it to him. Because Matthew was scared. So Joe was like, I'm not giving you nothing. I'm not giving you nothing. This is mine. So he was like, yo, you must be new around here. You don't know. This is my unit. I run this shit right here. This is mine. So Joe was not going for it. Joe was like, I don't care what this is. You're not taking my food. And he bumped him and walked away. So Billy was like, what the fuck? So Matthew was like, yo, chill, Billy. You can have my ice cream. It's all good. He don't know nothing. Go ahead. Billy was like, nah, I ain't going for that. I ain't going for that. He mushed Matthew out the way. So Joe turned around. He saw that. Jumped on Billy. Bink, bink, two-pieced him. Dropped Billy. Started wailing on him. Boop, 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 boop. Ah, you're not going to beat my friend up. Ah. He started wailing on him. Boop, 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 boop. So Matthew was like, they're fighting. He started beating on Billy. When I mean he was beating on Billy, he was beating on him like he was a grown man, like just wailing away. Billy like, get off me, get off me, get him off me. So the staff came and they grabbed Joe up. Picked him up. Ah, come on. Right, so when they grabbed Joe up, they put him down to try to calm him down type shit. So what happened was Billy was like, his nose was bleeding. His eye was puffy. You know, his face, his lip was busted. Joe was really giving him hands. You feel what I'm saying? So Matthew was like, damn. So he was like, the fuck? So when they had Joe on the floor, Billy went over there and kicked him right in his balls, like right in his dick while he was down. And it kind of sent a message like, oh, he kicked me in my balls. Oh. So another staff had to grab Billy back because he kicked him a good 3 times. Like he swolled his balls up. He swolled his little jimmies up. You know what I'm saying? He's like, oh, he said, you're dead after this, kid. So the other kids heard about it. They seen Billy. They moved Billy to another unit with the bigger kids. And he's been on that unit ever since. So Matthew was hurting for a little while, but he came over it. And then Joe, was like, yo, you good, bro? Like, he's like, you good, man? He kicked you in the balls, man. He's like, yeah, it hurt, but I'm cool. I'll get over it type shit. You good, though? He's like, yeah, thanks for helping me out and all that. I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never really had nobody stand up for me. You know what I mean? I'm the only kid at home. I feel alone sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And I don't have my dad. So Joe was like, yo, my dad died, bro. So basically what happened was Joe was like, the reason why I really act out is because my dad is gone and I don't have nobody. My big brother, he's into school and girls, so I don't really get to talk to him. My older sister, she's away at school, and then my mom is always working, so I always feel like alone, and I don't have friends at school. So I just act out. Me acting out will get me some type of attention with people actually looking at me and talking to me. So Matthew was like, yo, bro, we in the same boat. But then Matthew goes, you're not alone no more, bro. You got me, Joe. And they became real close after that. So Samantha, playing on that shit, she started hitting on Matthew, getting him to like her and all that because Billy wasn't on the unit no more. She turned Matthew against Joe because Matthew had a female that, everybody liked her. She was a cute girl, nice, cute Spanish girl, and she know how to manipulate the boys. So she manipulated Matthew into thinking Joe was his enemy. You know what I mean? That was fucked up. And it got so bad that Joe was self-harming again because he lost his good friend. You know what I'm saying? So that happened. And then the staff started seeing that. So when the doctor came, he was like, yo, Matthew, he was like, yo, Joe, you was doing so good. You was making friends with Matthew. You was hitting it all. Why y'all beefing all of a sudden? He was like, to be honest with you, man, I've been here a good 3 months now, and I'm learning that these kids play on each other, man. These kids play on each other. They use what they got, and they just use it against us. It's like, it's messed up, man. This is what he's telling the doctor. It's messed up. I lost a good friend that I met here. I didn't feel alone anymore. So the doctor started to, get him to unwind. He started to tell him, like, yo, my dad is dead, and this is why I act out. I made a good friend here, and then I calmed down. I felt like I was on my way out to be a normal kid again, just to be into the world. And then this happens. Me and Matthew ain't cool. We fighting all the time. And he was like, what's the cause of y'all fights? That girl Samantha, man, she's the problem. She's putting all the kids against each other. So Joe didn't like that. Joe felt like something needed to be done. He said, "Move. Why don't y'all move her off the unit?" She couldn't really go nowhere because she was sexually active. If she went to another unit, 9 times out of 10, any other unit, she'd probably try to have sex with one of the other older kids. And the other kids was like, what, 14 to 15, and then you got like 15 to 17. So she was going to get her boot smoked, you know what I'm saying? So what happens now is Joe finally, he finally comes to terms with his treatment. You know what I'm saying? He finally understands that for what him, he need to do to get out of here, he just need to follow his treatment. He started following his treatment. 6 months in now, following his treatment, he doing good. He wasn't fighting with no more. He wasn't doing none of that. He was just doing what he got to do to get up out of it. 6 months in there, he ready to go back home and start his life over now. He know what he got to do. He been through some experiences here. He done seen shit. He ready to go. Around this time, Samantha was on her way out. You know what I'm saying? She's like, I'm getting out of here next week. I'm out. I'm going back home. I'm going to turn up when I get home, this and that and the third. So Matthew like, you leaving us? She like, hell yeah. Like, it's time for me to go. It's time for me to be a big girl now. It's going to be nice kid guys out there, 16-year-old boys. So Matthew was like, what? So what about me? He was like, what about? She was like, what about you? Like, I don't like little boys. So Matthew felt some type of way. He felt hurt. Like, this girl really just used him, basically. She's like, Matthew, you cute and all, but you young, and you can't do nothing for me. I like older guys. Like, she basically told him what it was. Feel me? So Matthew felt hurt, and you did what you were supposed to do for me. You got used. Tell you the truth. Like, it is what it is. So around this time, Billy comes back to the unit. He's back on that unit now. Now, Billy is different. He's 10 times different. He's more mean, he's more aggressive, and his weight is transgender because he was on that unit working out with them older kids. They was really putting him to work, you feel me? And he come back, and Samantha like, oh, hey, Billy, you look freshly new, da-da-da-da. So around that time, Billy was coming back. Joe found out he was getting out in 2 days. You know what I'm saying? Joe was getting out in 2 days. So now what happens is Matthew was hurt. He went into a depression. He lost his good friend. He lost the girl that he thought liked him. And Billy was back. And Billy heard that Matthew and Samantha was a little buddied up, and he ain't like that. So he started bullying him again. Joe was ignoring it, wasn't helping him because he portrayed Joe for that female. You know what I mean? Loyalty is everything. Joe learned that. Billy didn't really fuck with Joe because Joe know how to give it up. So he respected him. And then when Billy was bothering Matthew, my fault, he noticed Joe wasn't coming to his aid. He would bully him, and he would look at Joe to see if he'd do something, and Joe would walk away. He would walk away. So Billy walked up to him one day and was like, yo, why you don't be chilling with Matthew no more? He said, me and him ain't friends, and plus I'm getting out. I don't got time to be getting into nobody's shenanigans no more. I'm going home to my family and start my life over. So Billy was like, oh, you getting out. You getting out. Billy ain't like that because Billy been in there for going on 3 years. Billy been in there for 3 years. And there's no sign of him getting out because he keep acting up. So Matthew heard he was getting out. And what happens was that night, the night before Joe was getting out, right? 2 nights. Let me say that. 2 nights before Joe was getting out, Matthew decided he was going to end his own life. His friend was getting out, and there was no way that they was going to be buddied up before he got out. So Matthew committed suicide in that hospital, killed himself. And, staff didn't realize he was dead until the next morning. So it was a alarming system for Joe. Before Joe told us so, before he get out, I'm gonna make up with Matthew and make sure he ain't alone. But before Joe could do that, it was too late. what happens is Billy raped that boy. Billy raped Matthew, and it put really fear into him. And he killed himself that night. Um, they did an autopsy on him. They found out he was raped and he killed himself. And Joe didn't know that. Um, what made Joe realize Billy did something to Matthew is when everybody was like, "Yo, Matthew died. Matthew died." You know, some kids was crying. Some kids was like, "Oh, okay." But Billy, his reaction, boy, that was a nice piece of ass too. So the kids was like, "What? What you talking about?" So he was low key telling the kids like, "Yo, if any one of y'all say something, y'all do the same shit I did to Matthew. I'm gonna put my dick in y'all ass." So the kids was like, "What?" Like, yeah, say something. I dare y'all. And these kids was mixed up with boys and girls. So Billy had his hands filled. He could play. I dare any one of y'all to say something. So Joe found out, and Joe was really about to leave this place. He was like, "Yo," he told the staff like, "Yo, Billy raped that boy." So the staff was like, "What?" "Yeah, Billy raped that boy. I heard him telling the other kids if they said anything, he gonna do the same thing to them. That's why Matthew killed himself." And then Billy and Joe was like, "I'm mad because I didn't get a chance to tell him I'm sorry and we was cool. He was my only friend in here." Joe learned something that day. Don't give up on yourself. You know what I'm saying? Don't give up on your friends neither. Always check on them no matter what. After that, they placed charges on Billy. They sent him to a juvenile detention center. And he's going to be finishing out his time in the juvenile detention center until he's 17. And if he continues to act up, they're going to send him to the big peoples. To end the story, Joe got out. He got better. He communicated with his family more. He went to school. He made friends. And he was at peace with his father being gone. And he had a picture with him and Matthew together. He kept in his room. "I remember you, bro. Love you, Matthew. Peace." It's your boy Carter TV. I'm out, y'all.